Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. Thanks for tuning in as always. We're doing another one in the Antediluvian Survivors video playlist here. This is an article that was left out of my Anomalous America Iowa episode, and been meaning to get to this one for a while now. Got a few more I'm adding to the monsters of old, survivors of the changeover, antediluvian giant, so on. For those of you watching now that may not have been aware, Anomalous America episode 24 came out just a few days ago, so be sure to check that out. Episode 25, almost finished, South Dakota. That one will be out next week. I haven't set a date yet, just waiting for some life things to kind of pan out to be sure. So stay tuned to that. I've been posting a lot of shorts from old interviews and stuff like that, so um, be sure to check those out as well. But yeah, let's jump right into it. This article is from 1885. It's the Iowa County Democrat, but it's being posted in a Mineral Point, Wisconsin paper. And it's called Dakota Outdone. Kind of perfect correlation here to South Dakota Anomalous America episode that's coming up, right? Dakota Outdone, because we are going to dive into the kind of petrified past, the quote unquote dinosaur mythos. I'm working on a preview video for South Dakota that's quite an incredible story. Really, truth is stranger than fiction type of thing. It has a lot of really cool overlays with some of my Ben Stone work. This kind of magnetite, Kaba, this magnetic memorizing consciousness stone, this living stones that you've seen me talk about in the past. But yeah, again, thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to get this going here. I created a new playlist. Again, Antediluvian Survivors. That has a lot of my old videos of crazy monsters, and definitely check that out. It's one of my favorites. I'm just kind of surprised I hadn't done a playlist sooner. So, like I said, 1885, Dakota Outdone. Here we go. Also, I made some software changes with my mic. So let me know how it is. Volume should be a little bit better. I had some people saying I was maxing out my microphone, which when you do that, it starts to sound not so good. In fact, I'm reading a little high right now, so give me 1 second here. Output. Yeah, it's 100%. That's not okay. Okay, there we go. Hopefully that's better. Not too quiet. Okay. Dakota Outdone. Nearly all of the monster stories which appear in print are laid to the charge of Dakota. But the following from the Newton, Iowa Herald places Iowa far in the lead in the storytelling business. The wildest excitement ever known in Iowa, amounting almost to frenzy, now prevails on Skunk River near Oskaloosa. The excitement began Tuesday, and though somewhat abated, still exists, and there are now several hundred persons there, and many others hurrying to the scene. Early Tuesday morning, Mr. James Wright, living a few miles from Oskaloosa, rode into town and informed the authorities of what he had seen at his farm. His statements, which were subsequently as follows: his farm is situated 4 or 5 miles from the city on the south side of the river. His feedlot, in which 10 days ago there were about 100 hogs, is situated about 8 rods at the nearest point to the river. During the last 20 days, 10 10 of his largest hogs, weighing from 250 to 400 pounds, have very mysteriously disappeared. The fence was new and made of native lumber, with posts every 6 feet. Also, a trusty bulldog slept 4 rods from the lot, and there was no evidence that the fence had been touched or the dog aroused. The mystery surrounding the missing hogs has become darker each day. Last night, he armed with a Henry rifle and his dog by his side from a partially concealed spot, watched the pen or lot. Nothing whatever was seen during the night, and nothing heard except violent flashing in the river, splashing. Just as the sun rose and he was in the act of starting for home, there came from the river up over the bank and slowly moving toward the hog lot a gigantic animal or reptile, large enough and hideous enough to appall the strongest man. And had not subsequent measurements verified his estimates of size and length, etc., those having heard his excited statements would have still believed that his exaggerations resulted from fear. It approached the pen in which the hogs were kept more slowly than it emerged from the river, and carried its head several feet above the fence until about 15 to 20 feet of its head and body was beyond the fence, when, with a quick descent of the head, a hog weighing at least 300 pounds was grasped in the mouth of the monster. The entire hog disappeared in its mouth except the head, which projected out of the side of the animal's mouth about 15 inches from the tip of the nose. It then turned around without seeming to move its hind legs or tail, carrying its head at least 12 or 15 feet high, its forelegs not touching the ground during the time it was getting over the fence. It then ran down the riverbank 15 or 20 rods and plunged into the water. He estimated its entire length to be 78 feet, the distance from the forelegs to the end of the nose 18 feet, the distance between the fore and hind legs at 40 feet, and the tail at 20 feet. Its legs were 3 feet long and as thick as a man's body. Its body was from 4 to 5 feet in diameter, making the animal when walking about 7 or 8 feet high. Although no one believed his statements accurate, all believed that some wonderful animal had been seen and that it had carried a large hog into the river. The report spread rapidly, and in 1 hour, 40 or 50 men on horseback and several hundred on foot were hurrying to the Wright farm. The animal was first seen a mile below the farm. Several shots were fired into him, which produced no other effect than to cause him to approach the bank slowly and unexcitedly. But when within 10 or 15 feet of the bank, suddenly he made a lunge and grasped by the head and neck a horse rode by Mr. Smith and was jerked with such force as to carry him into the river. And so deep did his teeth go that the flesh was mangled and the neck bone exposed in many places back to the body. T. Smith was only saved from being carried in with the horse by being caught by the arm and held by John Atkin, who was riding near him. The animal then plunged into the middle of the river, and it was apparent from the commotion in the water and his body was seen in every few rods, that he was going down steam rapidly. Stream. Every man with gun or revolver at every opportunity fired at him. The numbers increased so that at 2 o'clock there were 2,000 and following his movements. The firing along the bank became so frequent and reckless, or perhaps thoughtless, that it seemed like a battlefield. Neither the roar of a musket nor the impact of bullets against his body seemed to disturb him. By this time, it became apparent the revolver and the rifle ball would not penetrate his body, and it was roughly estimated that up to 3 p.m., 10,000 shots had been fired without even having infuriated the terrible monster. And it was decided to make the best possible time to town and bring a 12-pound cannon, a keg of railroad spikes, and plenty of powder. The cannon arrived at 4 p.m. Captain Wilbur, who commanded the 23rd Indiana Battery through the Atlanta campaign, took command of the gun. It was heavily loaded with powder and railroad spikes and put in position, covering the river at a shoal half a mile below, and all waited impatiently the result. At 20 minutes past 5, the huge river reptile exposed a large part of his body, crossing the shoal, when at a distance of 38 feet, the cannon was fired. Even before the roar of the cannon had died away in the distance, a piteous wail or groan, loud and long, came from the water. The head and the tail lashed. The water near the middle of the animal was seen to be deeply tinged with blood. In a few minutes, all motion had ceased, and it could be seen that the railroad spikes had taken effect just behind the foreleg, and that a large stream of blood gushed from the wound. A ditching team consisting of 12 yoke of oxen were a mile distance. They were brought, and chains were thrown around its head, and it was drawn upon the river bank. Al Swaim and Dr. Huntsman made accurate measurements, which are as follows: entire length from end of tail to tip of nose, 81 feet. From the forelegs to the tip of nose, 21 feet. Body from fore to hind legs, 40 feet. Its tail, 20 feet. Its heart weighed 80 pounds and had 4 cavities, and was pronounced by Huntsman to be the heart of an air-breathing animal and not a reptile. It was found the lungs and all the other organs seemed like the viscera of animals. It was found that not one of the bullets had penetrated the skin. It was skinned, and a taxidermist employed to stuff it, and it will be sent to the Academy of Natural Science at Philadelphia. The flesh is being carefully removed from the skeleton, which is to be properly wired and kept for the present at Oskaloosa on exhibition. Now, those of you, excuse me. Now, those of you that have watched a lot of my other monster videos will remember in some of my Anomalous America episodes that they've sent quite a few of these crazy monsters to the Philadelphia Museum, never to be displayed. Funny enough, Dr. Peck of Davenport arrived in response to a telegram Wednesday morning. After a very careful examination, he said, "Gentlemen, this is no Cardiff giant, but a veritable animal or reptile. But as I am neither a naturalist or paleontologist, I have to say that it's probably being to a species of gigantic lizard supposed to have been extinct many thousands of years ago." Pointing to one of the teeth, he said, "I will give $50 for that canine tooth," which was found on measurement to be 17 and a half inches long. Whew. Dakota outdone. Yeah. Another monster one for the books. Uh, yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this one. Make this one, you know, rather short, which is good. I actually wanted to go and show um, my playlists for the new playlist I made, Antediluvian Survivors, right here, which is this. You'll find this one. That's annoying. Let's just go back here. We got the Smithsonian offers $5 million bounty for dinosaurs. Primitive giants warred with huge beasts. Godzilla found in Mongolia. Monster terrorizes pygmy village. One of my favorite videos of all time. Only 1,000 views. This is just a. I gotta redo this one, I think, and just get this reposted with some other content added to it because I found some other sources. But just an incredible video. One of my favorites. Giant subterranean monster of Alaska. This monster, I believe, is closely related to the video or to the one we just talked about here. And then the 150-foot dragon found in the Utah cave. But yeah, there's the new playlist. So if those of you checking in and watching this now, make sure to check out those other videos. You'll love them. Fantastic stuff. Also, make sure to check out North Dakota, episode 24, Anomalous America. And yeah, that's all for me. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for the preview episode for episode 25 of South Dakota. That'll be out by Monday. Appreciate you all very much and enjoy the rest of your week. Toodles.